Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Anthony Cummins. I'm a historical researcher and author. Please enjoy the video.
Hi everyone. Okay, the book is out. It came out about 3 days ago. How to be a modern samurai. There it is, guys. So people should be getting this in their hands now, ordered from all the different places. Samurai religion. So in chapter 10, the spiritual path, I talk about the four main religions and I'll talk about that in a minute, of samurai ways, and we'll discuss why they are religions. So on the whole, there are four samurai religions. Confucianism, which is known as Jukyo. You then get Taoism, or Taoism, depending on how you want to say it, as Dokyo. You then get Buddhism, which is Bukyo. And you get Shinto, which of course is known as Shinto. Okay, so those are all there in the 10th chapter, the spiritual path. And all the information you need to set up a foundation is there, but let me briefly go through it. So first of all, why are they religions? You always have this, you're at a party, everybody's, you're at university or you're doing this, and somebody goes, what is it? Taoism is a philosophy, not a religion. I hear this all the time. Taoism is a philosophy, not a religion. It's just one of those sort of like, I've gone to university, I've just started learning about stuff, I have to make a point. The same as tomatoes are actually a fruit. So a religion is someone where you're worshipping. What do we mean by religion? You're worshipping something externally, something supernatural to yourself. And without doubt, Taoism worships various aspects in the landscape, the sun, the yin and yang, the heaven as a concept. There is worship. There are priests in Taoism. There are magical rites in Taoism. There's a priestly sort of class hierarchy in Taoism. There's all that. Confucianism, people bow to the image of Confucius, pray to Confucius, want Confucius. Buddhism, the same thing. Oh, it's a philosophy, it's realized, except Buddha is now classed as a god, which is the bizarrest thing in the world, seeing as he's extinguished himself, but off he goes, and everybody's like, Buddha, help me, I'm praying to Buddha. Like, Buddha's not even here. He can't hear a word you're saying. He's gone somewhere else. So, there's all that sort of aspect. Now, so I don't mind using the word religion at all. It's fine. Or philosophy. It's up to you. So let's go through the four and how are they connected to the samurai. So what's interesting to note here is that these religions did come along before the samurai, some in stronger ways, some in not, but they're definitely there in some form, and that the samurai evolve with them. It's not that the samurai evolve and then the religion is forced onto them. A lot of the time people get this bit wrong. They say, the Japan was there and then Chinese influence came on top, and therefore China influenced Japan afterwards. And you're like, hold on a minute. The samurai came at about the year 900, 1000, depending on where you want to count from. And the Chinese aspect came hundreds of years before that. So before the samurai were the samurais we know them, for hundreds of years, Buddhism, Confucianism, in certain aspects, obviously Confucianism becomes much more important in the Edo period, but it is definitely there, being taught as certain aspects of Chinese life in early Japanese times. So what I'm trying to say is that these religions, one of them being Japanese, one of them being Indian, and two of them being Chinese. Remember that India, China, and Japan all influenced the samurai. Okay, there's even down to Indo-European culture, with chariots ends up in China, which ends up, they discuss chariots in Japan. It's difficult to know if chariots did much in Japan, but that's not religion anyway. So what we have to understand is all the way from the steppes, the Caspian steppes, with the Indo-European people, all the way across to Japan, there is this knowledge coming down that ends up in Japan and ends up being used by the samurai, which coincidentally, you can't really track this back in history so much, but Druidic Celts and all that over here are talking about reincarnation. They're talking about your soul moving from body to body and birth to birth. Oh, Indo-European, it's Indo and European, and then it ends up, reincarnation goes to is obviously through India because it goes that way, and then into Japan. So a lot of people miss this point, but anyway, I'm sidetracking. So what we have here is this idea that the samurai are growing up into their religions this way, and the question is why do all four religions work together? Why is it for 1,000 years and more you have, well, yeah, 1,500 years and more, you actually have these four religions that work wonderfully together? Now, I'm not saying they didn't argue. I'm not saying there isn't political conflict. I'm not saying there isn't power struggles. But for the average person sat there doing his job, the average samurai, these four religions work perfectly well. So let's go through them. First of all, you get Taoism or Taoism, whichever way you want to say it. Interesting point is people say Taoism is not a Chinese word. They don't say it like that. Ism is not from China, and ism is not Chinese by any means. So it doesn't matter whether you say Taoism or Taoism. It's an ism. So always, if somebody says to you, that's not Chinese, say, ism isn't a Chinese word, that's why, and then slap them hard in the face as you spit on them and steal their girlfriend for being retarded. So there you go. Right, okie dokie. Right, so what we have here is you've got Taoism. Now, what does that mean for people? It's basically your position in the universe. So a samurai has to look at the universe and say, hold on a minute, it was created, there's yin and yang, there's the flowing of seasons, there's the way, how do I fit in here? Well, that's Taoism. He fits in there, and Taoism is absolutely there in Japan. You don't see Taoist temples so much, but they are there. And the Taoism aspect is throughout all of Japanese history, since the Chinese influence. It's just there, but you don't really turn up and pray at a Taoist temple in Japan. It's just under the surface of everything. Okay, so what we've got is this: the samurai's there, he's in his world, and he's like, this is where I live in the universe. This is my path. This is the way I follow. Then you get Buddhism, and so next you've got Taoism is on the larger scale. Then you go down to Confucianism. Now, Confucianism is the samurai. How does he deal with everyday life? He's like, what should I do at a funeral? What should I do at a wedding? Where do I take my shoes off? Where do I do such a thing? How do I speak to that person? There's all the language involved. So Confucianism represents your place in society. Now, sometimes Confucianism is very popular in Japan. Sometimes it's less popular, depending on the political climate. But the point being is Confucianism, whether it's being pushed as for an agenda or it's sort of disappearing into the background, is still the idea of the samurai inside of his community. So we know about the samurai inside of the universe and his landscape. It's Taoism. Inside of his local community and the people, it's Confucianism. So then the next step down is to go into his mind. So we go into Buddhism. Now, Buddhism is there, and it's like, well, what should I do with my mind? What do I do? What's the purpose of life? I know where I am in the universe. I know I've got a path to tread. I know about my neighbours and funerals and rituals. But what's the point? So Buddhism tells you the point. You've got and in here, we go through it, guys. I go through it all in here, as succinct as I possibly can. So you've got the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Have a banana. Have two bananas. Name that film. Have a banana. Have two bananas. Because he puts three fingers up. See if you can name it in the comments below. So basically, you've got the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. And they are the foundation of Buddhism. And the idea is to refine your mind, and so you can move on away from the existence. We go to hell, we go to heaven, we come to the earth realms, the animals and all that, and we keep going around and building up karma, expressing karma, getting rid of karma, building up karma, and we keep doing this until we've learned what we should be doing. And then eventually, when you learn it, you become a Buddha, and ping, off you go, and you disappear into the sunset. And so a samurai, obviously, that would be at the end of a human or a soul's line, which is, I don't know, millions of years, and the samurai only are for this bit. So as the soul enters the samurai's body for that small amount of period of time, they've learnt something and to move on to the next one. Same as the Celts are talking about over here, the Indo-European people before Christianity are talking about reincarnation and going off to different realms and all that. Same sort of thing. So you get this idea of how should I polish my mind? And that leaves another dimension, which is time. So all the last three are about the samurai then. So where does the samurai exist in the universe? Where do they exist in society? Where do they exist in their journey of the soul? All there. Now, Shinto is about time. It's about the landscape through time. So the idea is that the gods are there, The ancestors are there, and they've been there since the dawn of time or since they died. So all the kami are everywhere, and they help shape the world, and the ancestors join the kami spirits, and there are different forms of kami, and they all interact with your life. But it's about from the past to the future, because you as a samurai will die one day, and you will join the kami, and you will do this, and this will happen, and then you will be an ancestor spirit one day. And it's about the lineage of a samurai. It's about their interaction with the ground and the time it takes to the time over history of the clan and of Japan as a whole, and the people as a whole, all the way back to the sun god through the emperor. So what we have there are the 4 religious aspects of samurai life. Now again, guys, got to get yourself a copy and go through this. I write it all out in there. You've got all the terms and everything to keep you grounded. So there you go. So that is how a samurai deals with life and religion. And that is why you only really find in Japan, in the samurai times, the battles, the political intrigue, the religious hatred tends to come from when they're grabbing for power. Normally, when a samurai is about grabbing power from a secular point of view, that's non-religious. They're trying to grab power in life itself, whereas people having power over the afterlife, having power over spirituality is another aspect of power which they struggle with. But once you take away that struggle for power, the person genuinely looking for a spiritual dimension within samurai times has four religions that go hand in hand and totally fine, and they've been molded to go hand in hand. And of course, when the Christians first came, they actually considered it not a problem. There wasn't a big issue. They did have religious debates, but sometimes they just matched up the saint with a local Buddhist deity and everything was okay. But but because Christianity doesn't gel wholly with it, and mostly Christians are not allowed to gel with other things, that's where divides came. So when Christianity came in the 1500s, it could create divides because they couldn't intermash it so much. And of course, but nobody minded at the beginning. And it was only later when they said, well, actually, you shouldn't give your power to the emperor. You should be praying to Rome. And people are like, hold on a minute. Is this a prelude to an invasion? And so they just stopped it. Okie dokie, guys. So I've been asked, just to add on to this video, a little extra bit, I've been asked by a man called Daniel Aki, I think that's his name, in the email, would I do a series of videos on Confucianism? Because I did on my other channel, which is Natori. If you've not been there, please go over. I'm at Natori Ryu. That's my other channel. And basically, I do a playlist on Taoism, but I haven't done anything in about a year now, and he wants me to do a playlist on Confucianism. Now, I can't do it. It would take a lot of work, and the reason I've left some of these playlists hanging is because I have to wait till they hit a certain amount of views. So what I do, like my Shoninki playlist, which you guys are getting here, once it's over 500 or so, I'll do the next video. But as they playlist decreased to the last video is the lowest amount of views, the Taoism one is not doing as well as I'd hoped. So if those playlists do well, then I would do a Confucianism playlist, but I would have to see the other playlists doing really well. But at the moment, the views are just so low that it takes up so much of my time and it doesn't produce anything. I remember my videos are all about selling books because that's what pays for everything to keep going. So it has to sell books. And of course, low views means low sales. So therefore, this is personal message to you, Daniel. I would love to do a series on Confucianism, but I need the series to go further up in the views. So for those people who want a basis, please get a copy of this and go to chapter 10, and that's the sort of secret of samurai religion. Daniel, if the views go up, I will get on it, but as a further little secret nudge, a book that I will do in the future, I will expand. It won't be in the next, say, 5 years. It'll be after that, probably in the next 10 years, is going to be a whole book on samurai religion. And I'll break it all down for you guys. From all those 4 will be broken down so that you can actually get a proper understanding. But that's more towards the second half of my studies. At the minute, we're still on the other side. So I hope that helps, guys. Enjoy.